Matter of fact, sport is for the gifted people, gifted, or in fact, NPFL is about doing something very great. Then you move from there, you get to Europe. Then you talk about the EPL, and you get to Spain. You talk about the La Liga games. Moving away from there, you go to Germany, and you talk about the German Bundesliga games. These are the things that make people very happy and excited all over the world. This is for the round later games. Then you come to talk about tennis, talk about basketball, talk about handball. Then you talk about people who are right on the track, moving from one location to the other, overtaking one another. Welcome to Talk Sport on Global Television. It is a beautiful day, the 21st day of February 2025, and I'm so excited to bring you Talk Sport today alongside my guest. So good to have you right there. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course we're starting from the NPFL today, where Chile watches Remo Star overcome Kwara United in their game that was played right there in Ikene. How did it really happen? Remo Stars actually tighten their grip at the top of the Nigerian Premier Football League. NPFL are without a hard-fought 2-0 victory over Kwara United. How did it really happen? Someone might be interested to know how all of this happened. It was Daniel Ogumbede's side that left it late to overcome the Harmony Boys with Super Eagle head coach Eric Chile right there watching from the stand. What does that mean for those who are playing that game? It's not all games in the NPFL that Chile go to watch. They're going to watch this game, have a lot of on the team, and in fact, we're waiting to hear the news and the outcome from Eric Chile. Going to watch that game. Eric Chile is the new Super Eagles head coach, and as a matter of fact, he was at the stand to watch that game as Samuel Anakwe broke the deadlock for Remo Stars 11 minutes from time. A substitute also, Hadi Haruna also sealed the point with a second goal deep into the stoppage time. Nobody expected that goal was actually going to come, but that goal actually came, and that was the goal that made the difference in that game. And of course, moving away from there, Remo Stars sit top of the standing with 51 points from 25 games that they've played so far, and you know what it means. Playing 25 games and getting 51 points is not a bad one, and that has put them at the top of the league. But then it's not who is at the top right now that we would say is going to win the NPFL, but then it is a good height and a good fit right now for the club. As a matter of fact, in the day's other fixtures, Katsina United defeated Enyimba 2-1 at the Mohammed Diko Stadium. It was Enyimba's 7th defeat of the campaign. Katsina United also took a 2-0 lead, courtesy of Bello Lukman's brace before substitute Ekene was reduced the deficit for Enyimba in their stoppage time. Those were the games that were played yesterday, but then someone will tell you Enyimba is not so fantastic the way they have been. Is it because they lost out of the big league in Africa? Well, it's not just because of that, but then I think it's not all a bad run for the club side. Then still talking about things happening from Nigeria, because Charity Day say begins at home. We need to get you up to date with things happening from Nigeria before we get outside the shores of the country. And now let's move to the south part of Nigeria, where we will be talking about Bayelsa football referees that were trained in modern officiating techniques. It is one thing to be a referee, but then it is one thing to know the modern techniques. Well, the officiating techniques is very important. Things are evolving, and so many technologies come into play. As a matter of fact, over 100 referees in Bayelsa State have been equipped with what we call modern officiating techniques ahead of the commencement of the Bayelsa Governors Football Tournament that is going to be christened the Prosperity Cup. As a matter of fact, the two-day refresher, it It is a refresher course. In case you don't know, it is a refresher course that they had for 2 days, and it was put together by the organizers of the Prosperity Cup in collaboration with the Nigerian Referee Association, that is NRA. And you know, they're excited because one of the problems we really have when it comes to football in Nigeria is the fact that a lot of people don't like watching the ranked game when it comes to Nigeria because of the officiating, which is very paramount and which means so much to a lot of people. Then you talk about the crowd invasion, and of course the home advantage thing, which means if you're playing at home, you must win, or else the crowd, the home advantage will play out as you see crowd invading the field of play, which has made a lot of Nigerians not even have interest in watching the NPFL, not to talk about the NNL as the case may be. But then I think this refresher course is going to go a long way helping is very important. As a matter of fact, Bayelsa State Referees Council was also imbibe it, is to allow what they've been taught to stay with them, because sometimes you see something like a referee being bought over. I don't know why all of that happens, but then we've had such situations in Nigeria. But so good that this refresher course is coming up. I will have my guests join me in a moment as we talk sport right here. But then before I have Wilson join me all the way from Lagos State, we will go on a quick break, and of course Wilson is quite ready. He's going to be joining as we talk sports today, because we need to say a few things about some very important Nigerian players. I'm talking about Nigerian Super Eagles players who are actually making Nigeria proud out there. I know what's coming to your mind right now is Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman. Then you talk of Victor Boniface and the host of others. I know all the players in the Super Eagles are doing very well. Has he joined? All right, let's go. Good to have you back. Thanks for joining us on Global Television, and of course it is Talk Sport. We are talking sport right here. Let's talk about Victor Osimhen a little bit. Right now, Osimhen's goal is not enough as Galatasaray now bow out of Europa League. He has tried his best, but now let's bring to your notice that the Nigerian forward Victor Osimhen's goal was not good enough to advance Galatasaray to the round of 16 for the Europa League that was played yesterday. He tried his best. He did everything he could. And of course, that's what he would have done. But a tree cannot make a forest. That's what it is. He's so good. He has tried his best, but then he couldn't actually make Galatasaray proceed to defeat. Now mark another disappointment for them in the chapter. The Nigerian footballer, I'm talking about Victor Osimhen right now in the European competition following his performance. A lot of people have made so many statements. Then following Luke Mont's exit with Atalanta just 24 hours earlier, Osimhen, who missed the first leg due to suspension, was eager to make an impact in the second leg at Rams Park. However, how it happened is that his effort and of course Galatasaray's desperation to overturn their 4-1 defeat from the first leg, it was a youthful Ajax Alkmaar squad that dominated the match. The visitors are boasting an average age of 23.2 compared to Galatasaray's experience lineup average of 28.3 on the home fans with 2 goals in each half. Oh my God, that's massive, man. If you ask me, that's what I'm going to say, because if you look at Galatasaray and the crop of players that they have, what else will you be expecting? I have my guest already on the call. I have Wilson joining us all the way from Lagos. It's good to have you join us on Talk Sport this morning, Wilson.
Yeah, good morning. I'm really excited to be back on Talk Sport show this morning. Really excited. Good morning, everyone in the studio.
All right. As a matter of fact, Victor Osimhen's effort couldn't make Galatasaray stay back in the league. And look at the club that actually defeated them. I was just given the percentage of the age right now, and it appears Galatasaray actually had more very robust set of players. But then the game ended the way it actually ended just 24 hours earlier. Osimhen, who missed the first leg due to suspension, was in this game, and he actually tried his best. But then that match, the desperation made it, and it ended a 4-1 deficit from the first leg, and it was the youthful as Alkmaar squad that actually dominated the match. They were very young and very determined, and they won that game. What would you have to say about that game? The age average 23.2 compared to Galatasaray's 28.3, and they still stung the home fans with 2 goals in each half of the game, and they came out with 4 goals. Galatasaray just getting 1 goal. What would you have to say about that game?
Okay, so personally for me, AZ Alkmaar eliminating Galatasaray yesterday was no shocker for me. Really, when you watch Galatasaray play, you understand that this is a team that, mostly it feels like they're just interested in scoring goals, but their defensive line is quite very, very, very bad. That's been Galatasaray over the season. That's been Galatasaray over the Europa League so far this season. Back defensively, they are very poor. And then Victor Osimhen missing the first leg was also a very key point to them losing 4-1 against AZ Alkmaar. So yesterday was more like, praying that some sort of football miracle will come up tomorrow. But then it didn't happen that way. We can only, console ourselves in the fact that, Victor Osimhen was able to bag another goal yesterday. That was his 6th goal in the Europa League this season, about 20 goals, 5 assists, 25 goal contributions so far, in 25 games for Galatasaray. So good thing for him individually, but a very bad one for Galatasaray. One of the big weights in the Europa League, buying out quite very, very early. So it's a big blow for them, and I'm hoping they'll bounce back really.
Talking about 3 of Nigerians' best forwards that have been named for the Peach Award. Victor Osimhen of Galatasaray, Victor Boniface of Bayern Leverkusen, and of course Ademola Lookman of Atalanta have all been nominated for the top award of the 11th edition of the Nigeria Peach Award. Osimhen won the top Nigerian Football Award at the last edition last year, in addition to also winning the King of the Peach Gang, the Napoli striker, now on loan at Turkish giant Galatasaray, was also the reigning CAF African Player of the Year. However, Lukman, who led Atlanta to win the Europa League, succeeded Osimhen as African Player of the Year, and of course is being tipped to also win the Nigerian Pitch Award. Both players, as I speak with you, also are in the running for the King of the Pitch Award too. But then the third nominee is the captain of the Super Eagles, William Troost Ekong of the Saudi Arabia's Al Kholoud FC. Well, that club is not so competitive, but then we're looking at their performance back here in Africa. If you are in charge, what would you say about this nomination and who deserves it better? Because if you put Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman side by side, it will be somehow difficult to make some rulings. But then, let me find out from you as a sport analyst, who do you think deserves this better? And do you think someone is supposed to be in this nomination that is not there?
Okay, so amazing nomination. Having Victor Osimhen play alongside Ademola Lookman, beautiful nomination. Even the other one where we have William Troost Ekong still on board, still amazing. But if we are to be honest, across the 2024, the 2023-2024 season, individually, Ademola Lookman was outrightly Nigeria's best player, Nigeria's best export to the world. That's the honest truth. We have to start calculations from the Africa Cup of Nations, where he was outrightly our best player, bagging about 3 goals and subsequently about 2 assists. Showed how much of a player he was. Ending up, appearing in the team of the tournament. Was still an amazing fit to Ademola Lookman. We're going down to club level now. He was able to bag, average of about 25 goal contributions across the season, and then was able to lift over the Europa League title, where he was the first African also to bag an hat-trick in the finals. Amazing season for Ademola Lookman. Starting the season already, worthy of note to say that he has about 17 goals in the present season. So no disrespect to Victor Osimhen. Also had an amazing season, running up last season with all of the chaoses, all of the ups and downs with Napoli, starting up with Galatasaray quite well, and then also an amazing tournament with Nigeria at the AFCON. But this goes to Ademola Lookman, straight up. No arguments on this. Ademola Lookman all the way.
Moving away from there, let's get to all the stories from the world of sport this morning as we are still looking at what is happening. As a matter of fact, let's look at this one is Islam coming to Gasperini for attacking Ademola Lookman. Juventus legend Alexandro have already condemned the manager for what he did to Ademola Lookman. Are you on the same page with that condemnation? Looking at the penalty miss from the Atlanta great name and the blast that came from the coach that said Ademola Lookman is the worst penalty taker that he has ever seen. A lot of people have actually condemned that statement, and Gasperini is publicly criticizing the Nigerian over his penalty miss in the Champions League on Tuesday night. A lot of reactions coming, and this time this reaction is coming from the Juventus legend. What's your own take as far as this statement and the condemnation is concerned?
100%. I always talk about being emotionally intelligent. It boils down to issues like this: being a leader, being in charge of a club side like Atalanta in the Italian Serie A. Boils down to your personality, as a coach. Now, initially we didn't get to hear Ademola Lookman's side of the story, where he clarified that the penalty taker, gave him the, asked him to take the penalty, in the heat of the moment. And initially we thought that Ademola Lookman just wanted to, enjoy the euphoria of, coming on board to give him the hope in, pulling up a comeback. But he clarified the situation, and then that really pointed to the fact that Gasperini acted, we felt he acted wrongly. But then after Lookman gave us the clarifications, it showed how much of a mistake and how much of a mess the coach has created for himself. It's worthy of note. He has an 80% success rate under Gasperini. And then the designated penalty taker has missed 2 penalties in the last 4 takes. these are facts. These are clear facts. So I'm now wondering where Gasperini is getting his own details from, that Lookman is practically the worst penalty taker he has taken or he has seen in his career. It's quite very sad for a manager to say that about not just his player, but outrightly his best player, one of the most performing players in the league, if not amongst the very best. Lookman has gotten to that level, and then it shows how much of the way he's being treated internally. If he could experience an outburst like this, so it's a sad one. Everyone on the planet that understands football and loves justice will condemn what Gasperini is doing, and it's just sad to say that it happens that this is quite the ice on the cake, because Ademola Lookman might technically be on his way out from Atalanta come the end of the season.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about, because Lookman, as I speak with you, is facing Atalanta exit after the face-off with coach Gasperini. And of course, Atalanta transfer market reporter Bruno Romano, and of course, the plan for Ademola Lookman to depart was already in place last summer, with this club intending to finalize the transfer this year. Despite recent tension between the player and Gasperini, Atalanta remains committed to his decision, and the situation escalated after Gasperini made that strong comment about Ademola Lookman. So what are you thinking? Should he go? And of course, I think it's better to leave when your vision is high. What are you thinking? Because he already wanted to leave, but then some persons said he should still remain in Atlanta. But then, with this fallout with the coach, don't you think he should leave? But then I don't know what your own analysis would be. Can we just get your own side of the story and what you...
All right, so just like you mentioned, it's important to always step out when the ovation is quite very, very essential to do that. And then we're practically experiencing part 2 of the Victor Osimhen saga with Napoli over the last summer. Victor Osimhen also had the chance of leaving immediately after they won the Scudetto, but then decided to stay, sign the contract extension, insert the release clause, and then got salary increase, and leaving was down difficulty. So Lookman's case has been, I'm sure he has learned from, past experiences and past stories, especially from the case of Victor Osimhen. He has a contract on the table and has refused to sign, because signing that contract to extend his contract runs out in the summer of 2026, and then signing that contract will mean that, there will of course be, a sound, and having a very high release clause would be very difficult to get a good deal. But I would advise, or I don't even need to advise really, Lookman is going to leave. It's clear he's leaving. I don't see Lookman staying. They'll really want to sell him at the end of the season to ensure they still make some profit off him. So Lookman is leaving. His destination is what I'm not sure of. He's an amazing player that can technically thrive almost any way. His pace, his goal scoring abilities, his skills, his flair with the ball. He's an exciting winger, an exciting player. And I would love to see him in England once again, considering that he he didn't live up to expectations as at the last time he was in England. Coming back to England, traveling one of the big six, a Chelsea would be perfect for him. An Arsenal team too are in need of wingers, that will thrive from that flank. So I'll be hoping to see him in England very soon. Yes.
The fixtures for tomorrow, but then let's get into what is happening from the CAF elections right here. As the appeal committee has overturned Eto's ban. You remember what happened to Eto 8 months after being sanctioned for a serious ethical violation and faced out. President Samuel Eto has received a major reprieve, and of course the statement coming right now said the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF Appeal Committee, has overturned the disciplinary panel's decision that fined Eto Fields. Anytime the name Eto Fields, Samuel Eto Fields, cannot just be wiped out easily. He made a lot for the Cameroonian side, even in Barcelona too, and he was fined $200,000, and Eto was sanctioned in July 2024 for his association with sports betting company XBet, a move that CAF has deemed a conflict of interest given his leadership role at the Cameroon Football Confederation, that is Africa Foot, and he's immediately contested the ruling of February 19, 2025. The appeal committee now has ruled in his own favor, stating that the disciplinary body lacked the jurisdiction over the ethical matters. What do you think this is for Samuel Eto'o Fields? Because one, he is a man that has built an image for himself, and you know what he did for the federation right there in Cameroon. And on the global map, as far as the Wembley game is concerned, he has made a lot of mark. But this now, what do you think about the fact that this sanction and of course this penalty has been overturned in the favor of Samuel Eto'o Fields?
Yeah. So when we speak about Samuel Eto'o and then speaking about Cameroon as well, I see Cameroon as a second home for me because, growing up, I spent some amount of time, some years growing up in Cameroon as well. So, when we talk about the love of the Cameroonians for Samuel Eto'o, is something that, it draws down from generations down to generations. A legend for the nation, a legend in the footballing field, a legend for the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, a legend as well for Inter Milan, for FC Barcelona. Samuel Eto'o, amazing player, really exciting player. Even when he came to England, did amazing things there. And like I always say, it's exciting to see, legends, people that we regard as legends, coming out to pick up administrative duties, in their footballing governing bodies. It's essential because it gives the players a kind of vigor, a kind of energy to understand that they have to succeed because the man leading you succeeded, so you have no excuse whatsoever not to succeed. And then they will always give you your own personal stories of how they even experience difficult situations tangibly. So Samuel Eto'o getting into that, into that kind of a semi-mess and then subsequently suspended is a green flag and a good news for him and then for Fecafoot as well, that their president is on the way coming back. We saw the kind of changes he did, in the past couple of months leading as president of Fecafoot, and then as a lover of football and as one who is always pushing up for our legends to get into leadership positions in our football governing bodies in our nations. I'm happy to see that Samuel Eto'o is on the way back to Fecafoot.
So timely, let's quickly get away from Africa right now. From Nigeria, we got to Africa. From Africa, now we'll get into Europe. Let's get into Europe now and take a look at just a few things happening right there. Beginning from Liverpool's first wounded Manchester City as the Premier League title, of course, raise will hit up again. As a matter of fact, Liverpool's charge towards the Premier League title has already slowed ahead of a trip to Manchester City, and that's going to be on Sunday, giving Arsenal a hope of closing in on the leaders. The Gunners can now move to within 5 points of the Reds should they set see off the lowly West Ham City at the Emirates behind the top two. Then, of course, the race is on for a place in the next season's Champions League. Only 6 points, separate third place Nottingham Forest from Newcastle United in 7th before they actually face off at the St. James Park. Then Liverpool's title, should I call it a title test? I think you need to permit me. Let me call it Liverpool's title test because it's actually going to be a litmus test for our sportsmen as they appear to be cruising towards a record equaling 20th English top flight title. However, two draw at Everton, and of course Aston Villa in the last 10 days have already brought the title race alive again. But then Manchester City, the dominant force in English football during the last decade, everyone forget about the fact that they are now dwindling sort of, but then they were outclassed by Real Madrid in midweek as they crash out of the Champions League before the last 16 stage for the first time since the 2012 and 2013 season. Now let's look at the games that will be going down. Liverpool and of course their rival. Someone will say, well, the title is pointing towards one direction, but I don't know what you think. Let's just talk about this before I bring you the full fixture and you will react on them. Let's talk about this a little bit.
So the title race for the past couple of months, past couple of weeks has always been Liverpool's title to lose. But as the Premier League always give us surprises, amazing league, always pushing up surprises for us. It looks like at this point in the season, the title race is really eating up. And like I mentioned to an Arsenal fan yesterday, that they could potentially they could be 2 points away from from Liverpool in a couple of weeks. And what do I mean by that? Present is about 8 points off Arsenal with a game in hand, and the game against Man City on Sunday is not going to be very easy like we think it's going to be. And then Man City could want to make a statement by pulling out something over their rivals, rivals in the sense in the past few years. Man City aging Liverpool, they would mean that the EPL title race is once again officially open, because that would mean that if Arsenal could pull up a win against West Ham over the weekend and then also get to pick up 3 points at their outstanding game, we will just be left to about 2 points, before we could say that Liverpool are already caught up on the top of the table. So it's exciting, and this is the English Premier League. The top four race is also up, where we can see Chelsea, we can see Manchester City, we can see Nottingham Forest, we can also see Newcastle, Bournemouth also in the mix, trying to ensure that they can, pick up the number 3 and number 4 positions, getting into, the number 1 European football competition, the UEFA Champions League. So really exciting, and I'm really hoping that, I really want it to be heated. So anyone that wins the title this season should understand that it was really worth it, and they really pursued down to the very end of it. Yes, that's the English Premier League, of course.
All right, 9 p.m. today, of course, Leicester City and Brentford will be playing their game. Who is taking the day?
Leicester City and Brentford. I'm seeing that as quite a draw. Leicester playing at home at the King Power Stadium will be a bit of an advantage, but then I'm very certain that Wisa and then Wembo will be pushing up the lines for Brentford to ensure they get something out of this game. So I'm looking at it as a draw, a clean draw for both sides. Yeah, a point apiece.
Yeah, all right. Let's get to the full fixture for the weekend right here, and from the Premier League, we're getting started from the Premier League as Bournemouth. Okay. Let me begin with Everton and Manchester United's game, which is going to be played 1 p.m. 1:30 tomorrow. That game is separated from other games that will be going down. Then we also have Bournemouth and Wolves at 4 p.m. and then we also have Arsenal and West Ham United, which is also going to be 4 p.m. Then we also have Ipswich and Tottenham Hotspur. We also have Southampton and Brighton. All these games will be 4 p.m. apart from Everton and Manchester United's game, which is going to be 1:30 p.m. Then the last game for the day is going to be going down at 6:30 p.m. and that's between Aston Villa and Chelsea. Which of these games would you want to talk about, and which is the most striking match to watch out for this weekend?
Okay, so I'll be a little bit biased right now. The most striking game for me will be Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Aston Villa will be coming back from a very spirited performance against Liverpool. The leaders pulling out a point, against Liverpool. It's enough motivation for the team, and then they'll be coming up against the Chelsea side that is still trying to find his feet back with injuries across the board. Nicholas Jackson out injured. Backup striker McGree also out injured. The Madueke now also out injured. So Chelsea will be looking for a way to bounce back and try to push up their places in the top 4. A point behind Manchester City, currently 6th position. Chelsea needs this victory, as well as Aston Villa with all of the new signings. We've seen Rashford already doing the Rashid things for Aston Villa. We've seen the squad is really bubbling back. Everyone needs to prove a point to the manager and to show what they can really do. So seeing the Aston Villa's Chelsea's game tomorrow for games tomorrow. That's my game to watch and probably the most exciting of all.
All right. I think for Liverpool, they are going to be facing some form of injury crisis, as of course some of their players are actually down, and a Slots Liverpool manager has already confirmed that Cody Gakpo will miss the club's Premier League game and that trip to Manchester City this weekend. Is he going to be missed, or you feel they will do very well without him?
Yeah, Liverpool have actually played without Gakpo for the past few 2-3 games. Yeah, so yeah, It's going to be missed, in terms of squad depth, but I feel they'll be able to, still find a way around without him. They'll always have Mo Salah doing his things. Diaz will be supporting from the other flanks, and then we'll have either of Diego Jota in the middle, and then we can always have Nunes come up board to support him later on. So they always find a way to play, without him. Squad depth wise, you'll be missed, but then performance wise, I feel Liverpool always find a way. As long as Mo Salah is still around, they always find a way to strike out their 3 points.
Before I let you go, because I know you would want to attend to one or two things, Enzo Maresca must make rapid improvements to his Chelsea side. Okay, that's the defensive stability if he wants to avoid facing the sack. Are you thinking that Maresca may be facing any sack any time soon because of the performance of Chelsea? Is Chelsea really performing badly that should result to that? Because according to former Manchester United and Blackburn chief scout Brown remain very well connected with the game, and as we speak, he's exclusively been told by Football Insider that serious concern is on right now, and there had been some form of emergence at Old Trafford. As a result, a failure to turn around their dramatic drop in form could see Maresca sacked within weeks, as they are clear faults in his side. I don't know, is it not too early? Because Chelsea have won just 3 of their last 11 games across all competition, and they were also humbled by a 3-0 defeat to Brighton. That was last time out in the Premier League. Is that reason enough to actually let him go? And don't forget that they now face trips to Aston Villa and of course Arsenal, as well as a visit from Tottenham in their next 5 games, which could actually prove crucial for the manager's future.
Okay, so I feel it's high time we admit that this is not Abramovich Chelsea. This is not Roman Abramovich standard of leading Chelsea. So we need to just admit, Chelsea fans across the world, we need to face reality that this is a very different team now, a different management, and then we don't have those days anymore. And because if you're looking at Chelsea presently today, Abramovich in charge of Chelsea, Enzo Maresca will be far gone. Truthfully, is going to be gone, and Enzo Maresca will not be coaching Chelsea. A manager that had his first full season, in his career at a championships team, leading Chelsea is not possible. So he has been doing quite well, but the problem we are facing now is just a bit of a dip in form, and that dip in form is as a result of Enzo Maresca's rigidity. Yes, the tactics have been found out by teams, and is now getting caught up when we play games. So there should be a change. There should be a quick. It's a matter of urgency. A quick tweak in the system. A quick tweak in the profile of players being used. And then quite sad that Chelsea could not do anything in the transfer window. So we need to make use of the available resources we have. And loaning out players that could have contributed to the side is even more disturbing. Picking out Joao Felix out on loan to AC Milan is even more disturbing, because right now Chelsea are faced with an injury crisis up front. There's no striker really. Nkunku is mostly a supporting striker, and then will not be able to lead the line for an English Premier League side, where we press, when English football needs a lot of pressing, a lot of tracking back, and the rest of them. So Nkunku is not doing that, and then it's really Enzo Maresca could face the axe towards the end of the season, but for now, no, it's not possible. At the end of the season, when there is a need for reassessing, realignment to see how well the team has performed over the season, he could face the axe there. But for now, I'm confident he's going to stay till the end of the season, no matter what happens.
All right. Thank you very much, Wilson, for being part of Talk Sports today. This is how much we will be having you on the show. Thank you for making our time to talk to us today and be our guest all the way from Lagos State, Wilson.
Thank you so much. Really excited. Like I always say, speaking about sports is more like pushing out, live reality. So it's really exciting. I'm looking forward to, always talking sports with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. All right, we are bringing Talk Sports to a close right now, but then before we go, let's just bring you some major details from things happening, We have just finished talking sports now. These are news stories from the world of sport. Madueke to miss Chelsea's next 6 games. The Chelsea's winger Noni Madueke is set to miss the club's next 6 games due to what we call hamstring injury. Madueke was actually forced off with the hamstring problem in the first half of the Chelsea's 3-0 Premier League defeat to Brighton, and that was last Saturday. Moving away from there, another story again coming from the world of sports is that Kylian Mbappe can reach Ronaldo's level. That's what Carlo Ancelotti is saying. I would have even asked Wilson to let us know if that is a real statement. Remember that Kylian Mbappe actually got to Real Madrid after the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo, and a lot of people were expecting that he's coming to take the place of Cristiano Ronaldo. But then Carlo Ancelotti, the Real Madrid manager, has already heaped some form of praises on his striker Kylian Mbappe after he scored a hat-trick in a 3-0 win over Manchester City on Wednesday that took the Champions League holders into the last 16. Ancelotti have said Mbappe has the potential to reach the same level as the club great Cristiano Ronaldo. We're actually waiting for that time. The GOAT of all time, that's the greatest of all time, is Kylian Mbappe about to become the greatest of all time, like Cristiano Ronaldo has done. Remember how many goals Cristiano Ronaldo have actually scored in his career. Is he going to meet up with all of this? But then he mustn't meet up with that. But then in his performances in Real Madrid right now, we should just put our ears and ground our eyes right there to watch how everything is going right there. I'm about rounding up, but then you need to know that so much is happening from the world of sport, and we will not fail to bring you all of the details as it is happening right here. But then you should also know that from the world of boxing, so much is happening. We may not be able to bring you all of the details today, but then we want you to know that Boxing Supremo is itching to get Fury out of retirement in an attempt to actually make the blockbuster clash. In an interview with IFL, he said maybe there is a conversation in weeks or 2 weeks or 3 weeks time where we will say to Tyson Fury, just to let you know, you won't want to fight AJ in the summer. That's Anthony Joshua, or August, September, because if you want to come out of retirement, now is the time.